I called my dad. I was like, that's it. We made it. Our recipe book is pending.
Hello and welcome to the Sherlock's Team podcast with me, Sherri Andrew. Today I'm joined by Harriet Russell, Sayer and Vanessa Menrad. Hi ladies.
Hello.
Well, I mean, it's exciting because I'm in the hot seat today.
Yeah, baby. She's in the hot seat.
Yes, Sherri is hosting, so do go gently. But how's everyone been? What's been going on? I'll come to you first, Vanessa.
I'm quite relaxed, I have to say. I've had a very relaxed week. After last week of been on holiday and stuff, this weekend was very, very chill for me. I cooked a bolognese on Friday. I actually cooked my veggie bolognese, which is like a family recipe that turned vegetarian, for my Italian friends.
Ooh,
and it was quite a risky move, but I thought, I'll try. See, because her boyfriend is vegetarian. And they loved it. And I was so happy because this is my dad's recipe that I've kind of taken and kind of changed into a vegetarian version. So yeah, I was very, very hyped up about that.
And are you vegetarian full-time?
Yes, well, I'm vegetarian, part-time pescatarian, I'd say. I don't buy fish, but when I'm in a restaurant, sometimes I will go for fish. I use the This Isn't brand, this isn't...
This is not meat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This one tastes the closest to actual beef in a bolognese scenario. Okay. You can make it the same way. Because what I struggled with a lot of times is you add the red wine, and then a lot of the veggie versions just soak the wine up and then there's no liquid left. I don't know what it is within them, but yeah, this one works really well. And I've got my stamp of approval by my Italian friends. So I was really happy about that. That was my Friday night.
Praise from Italians as well.
I was going to say, if the Italians love it, then that's all you really need.
I know. So, I called my dad. I was like, that's it. We made it. Our recipe book is pending.
I would buy that. I'd be buying that, Vanessa.
And then the rest of the weekend, it was literally just, when you've been away and then the weekend after it's like a reset. Everything gets you do all the washing, you do the cleaning. I did every other Saturday. I like to sit down with tons of recipe books and online and just pick what I want to cook for the next few weeks.
That's very organised. And then do you write it down or do you just have it in your mind?
Yeah, I write down my top 10 and then I pick the ones I actually want to make. I try to pick ones where the ingredients are slightly similar so I don't have a lot of waste of food. And then I do my food shop and I just shop for the meals rather than just buying random stuff because I feel but yeah, that's become such a ritual now, and I really, really I'll sit there for 2 hours with my cup of coffee and all my cookbooks around me, just trying to figure out what to make.
Gosh,
so nice. I wish I was that organised.
Me too.
I'm not, but it's this is why it only happens every 2 weeks, because then the next week after it'll be every day to Tesco, what should I eat tonight? I can't do it every
And are you
week.
generally cooking for yourself, or do you have roommates that you cook for?
No, I mainly just cook for myself. I do like to, I like to cook for people, so I like to invite my friends too, but usually it's just, I cook for two and then eat one and have the other one the next day at work.
That's a good idea, because it's quite hard to have new recipe ideas just for one portion.
Exactly. So yeah, it was very, very relaxing. And then on Sunday, we actually watched the last of the Twilight saga. Every year, in autumn, we watch all the Twilight movies because,
Every year?
Every year.
Oh, wow, okay.
And it was breaking dawn time last night with a McDonald's.
Oh, that's a vibe.
Honestly, it was great.
I feel like the Twilight movies were such a time when we were teens.
Yeah.
And now watching them as adults, you see different things, don't you? Some of it's not quite right. Some of it's hilarious.
You mean how this teenage girl gives up her entire life for someone she's no fun?
Yeah, exactly.
Also, let's not forget about the imprinting on a child.
Imprinting on a child.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Red
weird.
flags, left, right, and centre.
But we watch it with we watch it almost as comedy though. It's so funny. The quotes that they pull, and then Jacob taking his shirt off every 2 seconds.
Well, yeah.
It's fun.
You can turn that into a drinking game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, so that was not that much to tell, just very chill,
Cooking,
relaxed.
love
Very
that.
wholesome.
Really wholesome.
Nice.
What about you, Polly? You are in your travel era
Thank you,
now.
girl. Yeah, I feel like I am too. Yeah, I just got back last night from about 10 days away. We flew to Miami, spent 2 nights in Miami. That was really fun. And then flew to the British Virgin Islands and did a week sailing around there, which was really fun. you know, it was not kind of below deck style, just sitting and getting served stuff and drinking champagne. It was like, we're actually sailing the boat, and I have never sailed before. Harry, my boyfriend, was the skipper and has done that skipper course. So he was kind of the one teaching us all how to do it. And it was honestly so great. I was quite apprehensive because historically I've always got quite seasick. And I was like, is this going to be a week of like pure hell? But it wasn't. It was absolutely beautiful. And I took my sickness tablets. I was a bit sick on the first day. But then I think I got my sea legs, and it really helps when you're in basically paradise. It's just so beautiful around there. So just sailed kind of around the island, stopped off, moored up, you know, had a little look around, and ate some nice food. And yeah,
Sounds dreamy.
It was really dreamy. Yeah, I bloody loved it. And
Were you scared? I feel like for me, I would find that quite terrifying, just being like out in the open.
It wasn't terrifying just from like the perspective of being on a boat, but I was quite scared that like it is essentially camping and I'm not a good camper. Like,
I see, yeah.
I was like, I'm not going to have like a proper shower. I'm not going to have like clean clothes. I'm not going to have, I don't know, a hairdryer or anything like that. So I was a bit like, oh God, how am I going to manage? But I don't know. I think I got used to it. I mean, like, obviously I was quite glad to be reunited with my bed and my shower and like a, you know, proper toilet and things like that by the end of the trip. But it's kind of nice to, I don't know, not have to bother with kind of all the things that you usually have to a bit, like, you know, doing your hair and whatever. So
Yeah,
quite
that's
enjoyed
true.
getting back to basics a little bit. And yeah, it was
Did you
lovely.
sleep out at sea? Like, or
Yeah, I
did
slept in
you?
the boat every night. Yeah, so it's quite like, I mean, you're obviously more up into like, you know, a bay or whatever, so you're not like in the middle of the ocean or whatever, but
So I just said that.
just imagine like
a little boat in the middle of
just stuck like out on the open seas. But yeah, it's quite a like, interesting experience, isn't it? Just being out on the water the whole time, and yeah, really cool. But we stopped off some really cool islands. Went to Necker Island one night, which is obviously the one Richard Branson lives on, and
Very nice.
yeah, very cool. But yeah, it was like such a cool experience and perfect time of year to go and get some sunshine. Because obviously it's quite cold and horrible here.
Yes, I mean, you chose the right time. Do you have okay, so my question would be, what are your packing tips? Because what would you even pack for that kind of adventure?
So like top tip is to not pack a suitcase. Like a soft bag is essential, I would say, like one that's waterproof and like a duffel bag, because once you get on, I mean, maybe it's different on like a massive catamaran or a big super yacht or whatever, but on one of these kind of monohull sailing boats, there's not a whole lot of room to go around, so a small bag will help you out. And just don't overpack is my one piece of advice. Like, I just spend most of the time in a lot of swimwear, so just pack swimwear and maybe a couple of like, you know, linen shorts and a linen shirt. I had a couple of like matching sets, and that's pretty much what I lived in. I mean, by the end they were quite disgusting, but I just don't think you need to overpack really. So if you are doing something like that and you're going somewhere hot, just pack loads of swimwear.
That makes sense. Minimalism is key.
Yeah,
Okay.
is key. But yeah, that's my most recent trip, and then just before that went to Stockholm for a little break, which was
So nice.
completely different, but equally lush. So I went with And Other Stories, and they very kindly took a group of us to go and visit their atelier. So I don't know if you've seen on their website, they're like, this is made in our LA atelier or a Stockholm atelier, but they actually exist, the ateliers, and I went to this very beautiful office of theirs, which is it's like going into one of their stores, if you know what I mean, but a bit more officey.
I was going to say they do it quite well. The
Yeah, they
Very
really
chic.
do. Very chic. Met some of the designers who are all obviously achingly cool, but really friendly. I feel like, not to generalise too much, but like I find Scandinavian people really lovely and friendly for the most part. And yeah, I got to see how they kind of design their collections, which is really cool. So they got a little sneak peek at some things to come, which is very exciting. Their summer collection looks amazing if you want something to look forward to. And obviously got to explore Stockholm a bit, which was a real treat. It's a really, really cool city. I think if you like Copenhagen, that kind of thing, it's really beautiful and quite small.
Yeah.
It's also not hugely populated. It feels quite quiet in a nice way. You know how like London sometimes feels a bit like, whoa, God, there's so many people. was like, where is everyone? It feels very just relaxed and nice.
It's a very small population. I think it's like an eighth of what London is.
I think it's
so
only
really small.
about a million or something. It's, yeah, it's really quite small. The food scene there is also great, and the shopping. Like if you're into that, it's just really great. Like if you want a little city break. We stayed at Hotel Villa Dagmar, which is really central and like a really, really beautiful hotel. So if you're looking for somewhere nice to stay in the centre, I would recommend that.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Amazing. I mean, I love Stockholm. One of my favourite things is that you don't really have to book a restaurant, which is such a unique thing. Obviously here you have to book ahead in advance, like by about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You just walk in.
Yeah,
You're like,
it's
we've got
brilliant.
space for you.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a dream.
Refreshing, isn't it?
I
Very.
wonder why that is. Just because it's
Think
lower
less
population
people.
overall, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
How about you, Sherry?
So I mean, the weather was crap, wasn't it, at the
It was
weekend?
crap.
It was not giving anything. But I had a really nice Saturday. So Lamira and I had a bit of a date day. So we did a bit of shopping, went to Soho. We walked through Hyde Park to South Kensington, went to the V&A, which was just really nice, especially when it's raining. Like, if
So you
in
walked
doubt.
there in the rain though.
I mean, it was like drizzling, but
Okay.
I don't really mind it. It's when it's
You're a
like
winter girly, aren't you?
I'm a winter girly. However, my New Balances, RIP, they were white. Now they are soaking in a bucket of stone remover. I know they'll be fine. I think I'll put them in the washing machine.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know, such is life. And we didn't really see an exhibition. We just had like a little walk around because I never really look at the permanent collections, any museum really. I kind of go for the exhibitions. But I was like, you know what? I can do a bit of Renaissance, bit of Tudor. And then we walked back and went to I think you say Bow's Inn, which is the nicest dumpling place in Soho. And it's very affordable. They're so lovely in there. And you can always get a table on a Saturday night.
Oh, that's
Perfect.
good.
It's great, yeah. So we went on like 6 Saturday evening and we were like, I'm so sorry. Had to preface that I haven't booked, but do you have a table? He's like, yeah, of course, come in.
Oh, so nice.
Really nice. And so we had lots of dim sum. We were basically killing time because we were going to Ronnie Scott's in the evening.
Oh, cool.
So, which is my favourite.
Never been to
I was
Ronnie
going to say, you
Scott's.
talk about it a
Okay.
lot, I feel.
I feel like I've been a few times this year just because it's so good. And I mean, it's like a Soho institution for a reason, that the people that I've played over there over the years are like the big, big stars. But I never really know who I'm going to see. It's just like, it's always good jazz. And if you get tickets for the late show, which I think starts at like 9:15, you can stay for the late show, and then they have a DJ and you can dance. It's just really fun.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's a really good vibe. And also the cocktails are really nice, and it's just like a great, like, oh, I'm out in Soho, I'm not at home.
Yeah.
It's kind of that vibe.
Yeah.
Such a cute date,
Yeah.
like day.
It was
like,
very cute.
Like the whole package.
It was.
Gosh.
And it was pretty impromptu apart from Ronnie Scott's. So yeah, I mean, and then yesterday I was just testing out my new air fryer. Which,
Oh, hello.
Oh,
Chef's
yeah, it's a great
kiss.
air fryer.
Oh, Vanessa, you need
the
to get,
absolute dream.
It's so good. So I've got the Dualit one with like it's got a big basket that you just take out and whack anything in. And yes, I use it 3 times. Once to make chicken, once to make a cookie, and then another time
A single cookie.
a single cookie. Yeah, because it's very energy efficient. So what you need to do is like take it out, pop it on, done. And then I made some baked oats, which I've been having in the morning, which if you like overnight oats, it's like a warm version. I would highly recommend. I saw a video on TikTok and I was like, that looks delicious.
How do you make them baked?
So you
you
just
have-
add all of like your overnight oats ingredients, like you do yogurt or milk with your oats. I add a little bit of protein powder, some vanilla, I put cocoa in yesterday, chocolate chips, nuts, anything you basically want to put in.
Nice.
And I put it into a loaf tin, put it in the air fryer or the oven for like 20 minutes, and it comes out like a little cake.
Oh my God, delightful.
Yeah, bit of baking powder. Actually, that's a key
is
ingredient. Otherwise, it doesn't rise.
right.
So yeah, that was my chilled Sunday.
Nice.
Very wholesome vibe.
Very wholesome. And then I thought, you know what? I'm a Celebrity is on.
Yes.
Has anybody? Well, it was on last night for
that the first
listeners.
episode?
Yes, so
I
listeners, it will
missed
be
it.
we're 1 week in.
Okay.
Is anyone watching it? What do we think?
So I didn't watch it last night, but I fully plan on watching this series
Mm-hmm.
because it has got some good people in it.
It's got a good lineup, bar one. Obviously, Nigel Farage. Who wants to see him on screen? No one.
No one except I do want to see him get barbed by the other contestants.
That's true.
So I think there was a clip online this morning of, was it Josie Gibson giving him like
Oh yeah.
quite a hard, like the opening montage where they're all like going into the jungle and they do different stunts and stuff. And like he's with her and something goes wrong and he's saying, oh God, you know, is this what it's going to be like? And she apparently turns to him and goes, well, it can't be worse than Brexit.
I mean, fair. To be fair, that's quite tame. You could have said a lot worse,
Yeah.
Josie.
I know, but she's right out the gate. Like,
Yeah.
she's not going to let him off the hook
definitely
once.
not.
And I thought, this
Fair
is going to be
play.
good.
I think it'll get the viewers,
I
won't
do,
it?
I do.
Like,
Yeah,
people
I mean, he's
wanna
being
see him
paid a
suffer.
sickening amount to be on there.
And then apparently Jamie Lynn Spears, Britney Spears'
Yes,
sister,
Yeah,
yes.
fascinating.
got through the whole of the first episode without mentioning that she's related to Britney Spears.
I mean, I think you probably know. People will know who she is.
She looks
Yeah.
just
She doesn't
like
need to introduce
her as
herself,
well.
really. She does.
She's Zoe 101.
Yeah, I used to watch that so much. Yeah.
I used to want to be her. When I was
Yeah, I used to
no,
watch her.
as in not Jamie Lynn Spears, Zoe 101.
Zoe
Yeah.
101.
Oh, yeah.
Such a cool school.
Yeah,
Such a cool
God.
school. So yeah, she's in it. Nella Rose, the YouTuber. Who else? Grace Dead. It's got a pretty good lineup. But it's for me, it's Ant and Dec. I just cannot
I
stand
know,
them.
I can't
You
stand
don't
them.
like them?
No. Well, I know they're national treasures, but I just don't see that. Are you guys fans?
I think they're really funny. I have to say, and maybe it's like a love or hate thing, but I don't know. I think they really make the show. I think I probably wouldn't watch it if they weren't posting it. Like,
I mean, if it wasn't them, who would do it? That's the thing.
Dermot O'Leary.
But I don't think he's got the same. Not that I like them, but I don't think he's got the same gravitas. No.
Do you not think? I just think he
Dunno.
did X Factor for years. Like, I think he's got the same level of experience for sure.
yeah.
And I think
Maybe.
he is. I think he is like approachable and funny.
Yeah.
I think they're silly little jokes in the like in between bits where they're like obviously so kind of silly and obvious, but
Like
I don't know,
dad
they just
jokes.
really makes me laugh. I really have a very simple sense of humour.
No, that's why people love them, though.
Yeah, but no, I think I might tune in.
Well, yeah, let's see.
Vanessa probably didn't grow up with them in the same way we
Well,
did.
so don't you worry, because we have a German version of of the whole show as well.
Oh,
Really?
But like I don't know how it is in the UK, but in Germany it's very much like reality TV stars like go on it. Like
It's not like top tier celebrities going on.
Like,
every, is it?
I've never watched the English version. I actually like I heard you guys now talking about who's the contestants, but I have so like little like interest in it that it hasn't even shown up on my TikTok or Instagram.
Got it.
So I'm completely like
Not on your
disconnected.
radar.
I feel like that's one of those things though I want to start watching to, you know, like Love Island I started watching because I was like, everyone watches it here. So I'm gonna, because, you know, then
Yeah.
I like watching something that a lot of other people are also
Yeah.
watching so you can like chat about it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's always water cooler talk. That's what I always say. There was a couple of seasons ago didn't really want to watch Strictly. I still don't watch it now. But I knew that everyone at Sheerluxe was obsessed with it back in the day.
Yeah.
And I was starting here in like 2 weeks. And I was like, I'm going to watch Strictly because I need
good
to be able to
research,
part
yeah.
of
I
the
watch Strictly.
conversation.
Yes,
I think I
me
started
too.
watching it for the same reason.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh, I don't really watch Strictly, and then like Lou and Charlotte went, oh my god, Pete, you don't watch Strictly, and I was like, guess I'm gonna have to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
I
they
think it's
dance.
optional.
I love the dancing.
It is
That's
great,
so good.
like-
I
This
don't-
season has been very good.
Has
I
it?
haven't really been watching this season.
What is
I
going on
have
with
why.
Bobby and Diane then?
Bobby and Diane, well...
Because they're in the Daily Mail like every single day.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm still reading the Daily Mail for anyone who watched the podcast 3 weeks ago when I said I would stop.
fair. I mean, he was in the dance-off last night.
dance-off?
Yeah, but
I
he's
think it was
so
unfair.
young. No, I don't think so.
so
I
you
think
deserve
because
to be
they're
out.
getting to like after the halfway point, after Blackpool, where, you know, people
Was
are...
this week Blackpool or was
Yes,
it?
this week's Blackpool. I'm just here for Leighton. To be fair, he does have some kind of theatrical, like theatre performance,
background.
like
Yeah,
background.
what's the line there? Do you know,
I
what I mean?
know,
Like,
you get,
at
like,
what point can you like
People on it who clearly have some dance experience.
Yeah.
You're like, they
It's a
obviously have
debate that's
massive-
raged for years, hasn't it? Because didn't Alicia Dixon win one of the series?
I think
and
she
it was
did.
like she literally had been in performing arts school since she was like 11. Then she was a pop star in Mystique,
Yeah.
absolute golden age. And then she goes on Strictly, and it's like
she's
against some poor rugby player.
Yeah, but I think there has to be
Yeah.
someone who's that level.
Otherwise, it's not going to be great watching. I suppose,
Yeah,
unless it's
exactly.
someone good. But then, yeah, I do feel like I wasn't one of the Pussycat Dolls on it one year, and like they are
Kimberly,
literally
yes.
dancers who
Yeah.
are like put
That's
together and
true.
like you can make a pop group now. But
Yeah.
I think they were essentially backing dancers, and like
That's
obviously
true.
she was brilliant because
Yeah.
she's a dancer. It does feel a little unfair to people who have like
Yeah.
never done it
Yeah.
before.
I
but-
take both sides, to be
Yeah,
honest.
but I think to be fair, I think having like commercial like street dance is very different to like the ballroom side,
Yeah,
which
I
is
suppose.
this is what Shirley says to like different training. So, but it has been a very good season. It's not too late to start, girlies.
Yeah, and I haven't watched this year. I watched last year and I loved it so much. I was like obsessed with it. And this year I completely like missed it. And you know when you don't start in time and then you're like, oh, have I missed too much
You
now?
gotta start. Yeah.
I really miss the old Strictly format though. So back when it first ever started, I think the last series I watched was when like properly was when Abby Clancy won. And back then I'm sure they were still doing it this way, which is like particularly like the behind the scenes video training, it was like really organic. They would literally just go in with a camera and film them training.
Yeah.
And like some bits would be naturally funny and some bits would be more serious or whatever. And it all felt really real. And now, isn't it like every single week, every single couple, it's like a gimmick.
They're doing, it's like an activity.
It drives me mental.
Just fast forward that. I don't watch that bit. I just
don't
condense
really
it to the
care.
dances and the
I
scores.
don't love those bits.
I just
quite
feel like the
long.
format of the show's got so cheesy. I just wish they'd sort of strip it back a bit. But.
Yeah, I hear what you mean.
It's very jazz hands, isn't it?
It is.
But you either love it or hate it.
That's why it's Christmas though, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what else has everyone else been watching? Anything to recommend?
I mean, I really feel like I haven't been watching anything because...
To be fair, you've been
I've
on
been
a
on
boat.
holiday. Sorry, that's such an
TV
ick,
signal
isn't
on
it?
the
Yeah, no, I genuinely just feel like I'm so behind on TV. So has anyone else got something to recommend to me? Because I feel like I'm home now and I need to get stuck into something juicy.
I just finished over the weekend, complete sort of chance. I just came across it on Netflix. Never heard anything about it. Called Living with Yourself.
Okay.
Paul
I've heard of
Rudd?
this.
No one?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's a really interesting concept. So the main thing I love about it is that it's 8 episodes of 20 minutes. So it's not a massive investment and you can kind of binge it all in one weekend if you want to. And the essential concept is he plays this guy. He works in advertising. They live in sort of suburban Connecticut or whatever. And he is basically depressed because his job isn't going that great. Like he's kind of middle management, but he can't get through like to the next promotion. His wife's played by Aisling Bea, who I absolutely love. She's
good.
But she's not playing a comedy role at all in this. There are moments of black comedy, but overall I'd say it's a serious role for her. While you can see that their marriage is like okay, they are experiencing struggles with IVF, which is like weighing really heavily, plus the fact that his job isn't going that well. He just doesn't feel great about himself. And at work, he is told by this guy about this, like, this is where it sounds a bit weird, about this secret spa that exists on like the outskirts of town where he can go and basically be like rejuvenated and he'll feel much better about himself. So he takes this guy's advice. It's extremely expensive. So he drains the account that they've been saving for their IVF because he's so desperate.
Oh, goodness.
I know, drives out to the spa. So then the next thing he knows, he's like taken into the back and they're like, oh yeah, we're going to just use like a gentle anesthetic. You'll kind of like go, it's almost like a sedative. You'll just sort of like go to sleep and then you'll feel much better when you wake up. Which frankly sounds a bit dodgy, but he goes with it. Red flags. The next thing you know, and this is gruesome, but he wakes up in a shallow grave.
Okay.
And
what?
And
Oh
that is
my
the opening
gosh.
montage. So
I feel
everything
like I've
okay.
seen
was just-
advertised.
Yeah, so everything
Now-
I've just told you is like context, but the opening montage is him like crawling out of this shallow grave because he comes
okay.
to. And then he's like, "Oh God, I don't feel any different. I don't know why I'm in this shallow grave. I guess I'll just go home."
Oh, wow.
creepy.
Okay.
So then he goes home, and it's like quite late at night by this point, and he hears his wife upstairs with another man.
Oh no!
know.
I feel like I know
Lord.
where
I'm
this
already
is
into
leading.
this, yeah.
Has he been like replaced with a better version of himself or something?
So he like
God.
he tiptoes into the garage, I think, and gets an axe because he's thinking that there might be an intruder or like he doesn't know if his wife's having an affair or whatever. And he's like walking, and then the other guy comes down the stairs and they get into like a massive fist fight where like they're trying to wrestle the axe from each other, and then they like slam together and they realise they're looking at the same person.
Oh wow.
Oh,
That's
so this isn't a
weird.
spoiler to say this.
No, this is all like
Okay.
context basically. It's
Got
like
you.
all scene setting for what the series is going to be about. But basically they've cloned him.
I knew it.
Oh, that sounds really good.
That
I'm
sounds
into this.
Yeah.
Okay.
And his clone version is like really happy, really clean cut, like looks after himself, isn't depressed, really enthusiastic at work, really wants to try hard with his wife to have this baby, like obviously the complete opposite of what he's been experiencing.
Right.
And it's basically then the next 7 episodes are about like how he handles the fact that no one in the shallow grave is supposed to wake up, like something's gone wrong there.
Oh, I
They just
see.
clone them, shove one in the grave, and then they send back the
good
same
version.
person,
Yeah.
but like actually it's a
Into
clone
the world. So this is like gone wrong in the Matrix.
gosh,
Like he
okay.
wasn't supposed. There isn't supposed to be 2 of you wandering around. So it's about how they like use each other to each other's advantages.
Wow.
The impact it has on his wife, like when she eventually finds out, and it's
Oh god, I'm gonna add that to my list. That
Yeah,
sounds
that
brilliant.
sounds great.
It sounds very Black Mirror.
It is very Black Mirror. I
vibes?
sometimes struggle with Black Mirror because sometimes it feels a bit too close to
too
home.
close to the bone,
And then I
yeah.
have like nightmares about it. I didn't have nightmares about this. And Paul Rudd is amazing because you realise, obviously, he's having to do these scenes twice, essentially. And you actually realise what a range he must have as an actor to play like this very depressed version of himself versus this like happy-go-lucky version.
Yeah, he's a great actor.
He's really good. I was really impressed. Like I say, I love Aisling Bea. She's really good in it.
And what's it called and where can we find this?
It's called Living With Yourself, and it's on Netflix.
Great.
Okay.
Add to watch list.
Yeah.
And like I say, not a massive investment. So if you sort of get halfway through and think it's
Yeah.
not for you, you'll probably have only maybe spent an evening with it or something.
Okay,
Yeah, that
nice.
sounds brilliant. Thanks.
Vanessa, have you been watching anything or reading?
Yes, well, I've been watching two things, like, on and off. Although, so the first thing I'm watching is, was it All the Light We Cannot See?
Yes, tell.
But I'm so far not that impressed. At first I was like, you know, it got quite emotional quite quickly. It's about this blind girl who lives in a French town that's occupied by the Germans. And there's a German, I don't actually know what his like level is, but he's like some sort of commander or something who's looking for her, but no one in the village is like willing to give her up. And she has every evening at the same time, she like broadcasts her reading certain parts of a book, which obviously is like some sort of code for the right people. And that's why people don't tell on her. And then at the same time, there's this German soldier. He's like some sort of genius with radios, and he started listening to the same channel that this girl used to listen to when she was young, and she's broadcasting on that channel. So he listens to her every night, realizing she's in the same town because he hears the bombs. What I didn't like about it was it gets quite sometimes the conversations are a little bit too cheesy, like a little almost like there's like throwbacks of her as a kid, you know, leaving Paris with her dad, and the way they speak to each other. I'm like, if you like, they're literally walking out of Paris because Paris has just been taken over by the Nazis. The train stations were just suddenly closed, like, you know, no one could get out, so they had to like walk by foot out of Paris, try and find somewhere to live. And them two are just walking, and then they just speak to each other in like these poetic sentences. And I'm like, surely you'd be so stressed. You don't know where you're going to sleep tonight. Like, you have a child with you. You wouldn't speak like, I will always love you. You are always my favorite. You know, it was like very like, it just
a bit
feels
OTT.
a bit... Yeah, there's something about it that I'm just, at the minute, I'm just
missing.
a bit like...
Because it's based on the book of the same name, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which is, I haven't read it, but it's supposed to be incredible.
Yeah,
so
I
a
haven't
bit
read it, but I want
disappointed.
to. Now I'm like, maybe I should read the book. Rather than, I mean, it's not bad. It's not, but it's not. I'm not blown away.
Yeah.
I was hoping for a lot more. And then at the same time, I'm watching something completely different. I don't. Have you ever watched Upload? No. There's
Upload, no.
So there's 2 seasons have been out for years now. There's a 3rd season that literally came out a few weeks ago that I've already finished. It's very different to what I just talked about. It's almost like a comedy thing, but it's a futuristic situation where essentially like the internet has kind of taken over, and if you are rich enough and you're about to die, you can upload your conscious, and then you can like book book to be put somewhere. This specific show is about Lakeview, which is like a online world where then these people have a room booked ready for when they pass away, so they can continue living there. And then as a living being, you can like VR visit them and stuff like that.
That's so scary.
Yeah, and it starts with this guy who's in a relationship with one of these like super rich girls, and he's just about to launch a free version of this afterlife so everyone can have access to it, because obviously throughout the show it's kind of explained like there's a massive like gap between like people who can afford it and then people who, you know, can't, and a lot of people also don't want to do it because they just want to pass away. Anyways, that's like the main like sort of story about it, and then he gets killed, and obviously that's like what happened there, like he wanted to do a free version of it, and suddenly
plot twist. I see.
But he doesn't actually die. And she then she makes him sign in his last like breath, like sign to be uploaded. And that's where the story kind of begins. Like he becomes an upload, and he's trying to figure out his memory's all damaged. Like he doesn't remember making this app, you know, like, and then like, but it is quite comedic in it,
Yeah.
like and
So it's not too. This sounds quite scary.
no,
to
no,
me.
no. It's not actually. There's a lot of comedy in it. Yeah, it's like the ground of it. Like it could be really serious. It could be like
Yeah.
a really serious science fiction, but it's quite funny. Like
Yeah.
it's like futuristic comedy. But I loved the first 2 seasons, and yeah, I watched the 3rd season and enjoyed it as well.
And where can you watch that, Vanessa?
That's on Amazon.
Well, I watched part 1 of season 6 of The Crown last night. Has anyone else seen?
No, I'm sort of saving
Okay.
it. The Critic, it came out on Thursday,
Yeah.
and the Critics
last week.
immediately
Slated it,
it was like
haven't
a
they?
flood of like terrible reviews, which I don't know if they had been like shaped by a lot of the like pre-discourse, which has been, you know, quite negative around the fact that we're obviously inching closer
Yeah.
to present day. We're dealing with Princess Diana's death in
Yeah.
this season, which is obviously a very sensitive topic. And there was a sort of spoiler online, wasn't there, that she is coming back in a couple of episodes after her death as a ghost that people took quite badly.
Okay, I did not read this.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, that's
anyway.
quite. I think that's quite disrespectful.
Yeah, so there have been other seasons of The Crown where I have literally like binged all of it in like 3 days. Like I've almost had to ration myself. I've enjoyed it that much.
Yeah.
But this one I haven't even started yet. And however, I will say that my mum texted me on Saturday and she was like, I've watched all 4. It's brilliant.
Okay.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Well, I've watched 3 out of 4. And yeah, I agree. I don't think it's as good as the early series, but I think that's because for me it was more of a historical take.
Yes,
Whereas
I always
is-
say this about The Crown,
yeah.
which is like the best thing about it is that it teaches me things I didn't know.
Exactly.
About
In like the
Whereas-
40s and
Yeah.
beyond, where obviously we weren't alive. Whereas now it feels like we know the story. Is this really adding anything that we didn't really know? Probably not. So I would still recommend it, but I'll be interested to see when part 2 drops.
Yeah.
Because that is definitely close to the present day. And this is the last series. So after this,
So do the first
we know
4
more.
not cover her car crash? Or do
Yes, it's up until the car crash.
Okay.
And then the aftermath of that as well.
Okay.
And then that's where it stops.
Okay.
I think. But we shall see.
they? Yeah,
Yes.
because the next part comes out.
Mid-December.
Okay.
Yes, you've got a while. You've got a month to watch that. And then we'll rediscuss when that part is out. And we'll
Yeah.
see when the ghost comes through, because that sounds very
Sounds quite
strange.
weird, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
much.
No.
Yeah.
Apparently she comes back to visit Charles.
Well, I'll circle back in a month when part 2 drops. Anyway, should we answer some questions?
Yeah.
Oh, I like this one. I'm going to come to you, Polly.
Okay.
So someone has asked, how do you shop for high street pieces and feel like you're not wasting money?
That's a good
Okay.
question.
Well, I guess it's, I suppose, in what context you feel like you're wasting money, whether it's like a trend piece that's fleeting or whether it's the quality aspect. Well, let's go from the kind of quality aspect. I think there's nothing wrong with shopping high street, first and foremost. You can get some great pieces on the high street. I just
Absolutely.
think when I do that, I think I just always make a habit to check the label for like the fabric composition, and generally speaking I find certain fabrics last a bit longer, whether that's like it's a higher percentage of cotton or wool, a bit less polyester, for example, and I guess that from perspective of being wasteful and things like that, that's better for the planet, I suppose.
Yeah, that's true.
And then if it's on the trend side, I think you can still buy into trends, but really ask yourself whether it's a piece that you can see yourself wearing in a year's time, and whether you're buying it because you've seen other people wearing it or because you really like it. I think I've mentioned it and lots of other people mention it, but like, you know, if you see a trend piece and you love it, ask yourself, you know, can you think of 5 outfits that you'd wear this with? And
that's
if you
good advice.
can't, then don't buy it. Or maybe just give it some time. Like, don't impulse buy.
Yeah.
Maybe just think, okay, like this is cool. Give it a week or 2 weeks. If you're still thinking about it, then buy it.
Yeah, that's good advice. I also think you should look at like the seams, like the detailing. Like if it's a jacket, are there threads coming out? Can you see if the fabrication is like good quality? Vanessa, we're big fans of the high street, obviously. Any other tips to add?
Well, I think as well for me, like I've done it before where I'd buy something from the high street, like a jumper that looked really nice, and then you wash it once and it looks suddenly like really weird. So I recommend, and I do this now with all my clothes, no matter how expensive they are, to like really carefully wash them. Like, you know, have a look at again, like
Yeah, check the
what's it
label.
made out of? Like, you know, do I really need to like wash it like after every use, like especially when it's like a jumper, because they will not last as long. And I mean, yeah, the high street it's difficult because of course, like, you know, they reproduce a lot of clothes. So like,
Yeah.
environmentally speaking, it's like the worst place to go, but at the same time, we have to understand not everyone can
more affordable.
Exactly. It's affordable, and there is some really nice pieces. What I find as well, sometimes when I see something I really like, I check Vinted if someone has bought it in the wrong size, not returned it in time. That
I think
happens.
that's a really good.
That is so true.
And then you
yes.
can get it.
Often
that's a great
eBay,
shout.
Vinted, Depop, all of those places are so good. And like you're right, like people buy things, leave it too long to return them, or they bought the wrong size, or whatever, they can't be bothered to send them out.
hack.
Maybe that makes you feel a bit better, and you can usually get a bargain.
Exactly, and you feel smug and like, oh, it's from Vinted.
But in general, I'd say like treat it as if it was an expensive piece. Like don't, like I know it was only £20, but you can still treat it very well. When you wash it, the way you know when you wear it, these sort of things.
Good advice. Okay, next, quickly. Recommendations for good winter boots. Walking a lot, but want to look chic.
Oh, I feel like I need this question answering. The thing that I've done
hard.
this year is really try and get into that like look that's either like a cape boot or a totem boot, like small kitten heel sort of but not as substantial as that. That's what I need, because what I've been getting is like almost it's not like stiletto height, but it's like stiletto girth.
Yeah.
Is that the right word? And they do not last. Like the heel caps on them literally
they're quite hard.
So
Well,
fast.
these are quite good, guys. They're from Me and M, and I don't know if you can see it for those that are watching on the YouTube, but they're kind of from the side look like they could be stiletto, but they're wider, so a bit sturdier, and also like kind of last a bit longer than a stiletto. Yeah. They are slightly pricier, but I love them, and they've really kind of moulded to my feet nicely.
Oh, that's nice.
And they're so bloody comfortable. Like, they look quite chic. I can wear them for the evening.
Are an ankle boot for anyone listening as well.
Yes, an ankle boot, sorry, I should say, with slightly elongated pointed toe, which
They're
looks
very
great
chic.
with like, thank you, with a wide leg trouser. So they work for daytime and evening. I know we talk about that a lot, but they genuinely do. So I think if you're looking for a slightly cheaper option, Massimo Dutti and H&M have some quite similar options.
Nice. Thanks, ladies. Okay, let's do one more. Well, speaking of Stockholm and Copenhagen, you've been to Polly. Best places for city breaks, or let's go for your favourite places. I would say mine is probably obviously Paris. That's so obvious, but Stockholm and anywhere Scandi like Oslo. Go north, even like Reykjavik. Really cool and great food. Harriet,
I love Seville for a weekend. I think that's really gorgeous. It's got some really nice sort of quite low-key and affordable hotels, but they're done really nicely, and the architecture's really good. The food's obviously stunning. I'd really recommend Seville.
love that. Nice year round as well.
Pretty much, yeah. Like you can still go sort of, I mean, maybe now it starts to be getting a bit cold, but October time, really lovely. I mean, height of summer is actually going to be probably too much for a lot of people.
That's
so,
true.
Yeah, really good.
Polly, anywhere?
I always bang on about Lisbon. I think it's my favourite European city. But I would say Stockholm or Copenhagen, also great for this time of year. If you're willing to kind of embrace the cold and just go knowing that it's a chilly city break, it's quite cosy.
Yes.
So,
True. And Vanessa, I mean, you're an international girlie, but where's your fave?
I was gonna, Copenhagen is on the top of my list of what I want to do. I've never been. I want to, but I was gonna say for winter as well, Vienna. Like I feel like it's like, especially right now, at least
so pretty.
Oh, so nice at Christmas.
Christmas, and then Paris, obviously. Always,
you can't go wrong.
Always Paris, but. Can't really say that. I feel like that's so obvious. So I'm going to stick with Vienna on this one.
Vienna, that's a good shout. Great food, I've heard as well. Right, I think we will leave it there. But thank you so much for listening. If you have any feedback at all, please do email us at podcast@sherlux.com. You can also look out for the question box on Instagram every week, or you can ask your questions on the Sherlux community at community.sherlux.com. Don't forget to rate, review and subscribe and tell your friends, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, bye-bye.